and said, come to my office. And so I followed her into her office. Apparently, she was not just the head of chambers, but also the managing partner of the law firm. And she said, tell me about yourself. So I began to tell her about myself, my skills and experience. And then I told her about a certification I just bagged in commercial arbitration from the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators. She said, oh, you have a degree in that? I said, yes. I said, in fact, the principal partner was one of my tutors at the time when I was doing the course. She said, okay, that's fine. There's a role for general manager of the ADR Center. Are you interested in joining? I said, why not? So she said, can you come for an interview by 11 a.m. tomorrow? I said, absolutely. So she shared the interview invite with me, 6 p.m. that same day. And then I got into the interview room. It was a panel of 4. I went through the first stage, the second stage, and then it was time for me to meet with the principal partner. When I was waiting to see the principal partner, the same person, the managing partner, walked up to me and said, you know, the kind of person that we are looking for in order to fill this vacancy is somebody who can represent the status of the organization, is going to be the face of the organization. And in fact, we are looking for somebody who can elocute. The very moment she said the word elocute, my head just rang, like a bell rang in my head. And all of a sudden, it dawned on me that I was not just being hired for my hard skills. I had read a lot of books on arbitration. I had studied, I had burnt the midnight oil. I had done a lot, just to ensure that whatever question the principal partner was going to confront me with, I would have accurate answers to. And then she spoke to me and said, what we are actually looking for is somebody who possesses managerial skills, managerial grit. And then when I met the principal partner, he said, I think we have found the perfect fit for this role. I was offered the managerial position without any managerial experience, so to speak. All I had prior to that interview was just the knowledge of law, the skill of law, the experience of being an associate or an advocate, and not necessarily managerial experience. But it then dawned on me that one of the fundamental criteria for hiring at management level, senior management level, top management level, is people skills, soft skills, communication skills. Now, there was a research conducted by Harvard, okay, and the research that was conducted showed that 85% of job success emanates from well-developed soft and people skills. I'm sorry that my presentation is a little bit blurry. I'm wondering why. I think there's a technical issue here, but I believe that when you listen to me, you will be able to follow my presentation and my thought process. That 85% of job success actually comes from developing and mastering soft skills, people skills, and verbal intelligence. And that only 15% of job success is ascribed to mastery of technical skills and knowledge, which is actually called hard skills. So, for example, for somebody who is a medical doctor, all right, the process that you went through in order to bag a degree in medicine, all that process of training and skill acquisition is called hard skills. For somebody who is an accountant, for example, all the processes of going through tertiary institution, acquiring degrees and all of that, they are called hard skills. Okay, proficiency in a foreign language is also an example of hard skills. Typing is another example of hard skills. Okay, and all that is required in order to bag a degree in your area of practice or area of expertise, they are called hard skills. However, when that medical doctor who possesses hard skills is required to move from entry level to management level, what will distinguish that medical doctor is the acquisition of soft skills. So when that medical doctor combines project management skills, okay, combines communication skills with the hard skill of medicine, that medical doctor is automatically going to experience an elevation, promotion from that entry level to management level. So what separates entry level professionals from management level professionals is what is called soft skills. Soft skills does not necessarily mean weak skills. Okay, that it is soft doesn't mean it is weak, because these skills are actually management skills. They are actually leadership skills. They are actually communication skills. So it is very important as a young professional to not only pay attention to the hard skills, the hard core of what you do, all right, but to also pay quality attention to the acquisition of soft skills. And the irony of this whole scenario is that many people play down on soft skills and overemphasize hard skills. So a lot of us run after hard skills. We want to bag more degrees. We want to go for masters. We want to go for our PhD almost immediately. We want to scale up. We want to upskill. We want to retool. And that's fine. That's absolutely great. But the truth is that if you want to escalate your experience to management level, what is required is actually not, it is shocking but true, is actually not the abundance of hard skills that you have acquired, but your competence in soft skills. They are called people skills. They are called soft skills. They are called power skills. So when you want to rise in the corridors of power, you want to become a king in the boardroom, the person who is the king in the boardroom is the one who possesses mastery of soft skills. Now, it was after I had resumed as general manager that I discovered that the general manager is an ex officio member of the governing board of my organization. I didn't know that I was going to be sitting on the board of my organization, but by virtue of my office as general manager, I also double as a member of the board. So I began to sit and rub minds with my parents in the legal profession, so to speak. I began to speak to people who are grandparents for me in the legal profession. And that literally shifted my network, shifted my expertise, my experience, shifted the dynamics of opportunities that I attracted. Opportunities began to come to me at that level because my network had changed. And guess what? When your network changes, your net worth also changes. So it is network before net worth. Your net worth is a direct reflection of your network. If you want to begin to earn at a particular level, change your environment, change your network, and then you will begin to experience career success at exponential levels and dimensions. Are you following? So soft skills are power skills. You want to move, you want promotion at your place of work, you need to pay attention to soft skills. Now, I know how shocking this may be, but it's actually the truth. It's an area that a lot of people have played down on, an area that a lot of professionals, do not pay attention to. But this is actually the crux of management, the crux of stepping into boardroom politics, the crux of stepping into influence and affluence as a young professional. Do you see? So communication is the lifeblood of practicing and succeeding as a young professional. Your communication skills must be top-notch. Your ability to make presentations, whether impromptu presentations or extemporaneous presentations, must be top-notch. Okay, I recall when I resumed, there were proposals I had to make, and I needed to change the face of the organization. I needed to position the organization for international relevance and success. So I had to ask myself, what are the things that we need to do? I made research in my industry. What are the industry requirements? What are the standard practices of an arbitration center? And then I began to study and I began to see, okay, some things, action points, action plans. I documented them and presented them. When I presented to the board, all my action plans, all my proposals were instantly approved. All of them, without exception. And we swung into execution. We started executing those proposals. And guess what? I have left the place now for a bigger opportunity. But before I left the place, all right, in less than 2 years, my organization moved from domestic influence into international recognition. People from the different parts of the globe started calling us. The first call that we got was from Prospera Arbitration Center in the Republic of Honduras. And interestingly, it was actually a recommendation from someone who had tasted our value and our service at the center, recommended us for that partnership. And I got a message on my phone saying, oh, my name is this person and all of that. I'm calling from the Republic of Honduras. I've gone through your website. I can see the great work you're doing. Are you open to partnership and collaborations and all of that? And then they sent in their statement. They sent in their brochure, their plans. And then I looked at it and saw that, okay, these people share the same values that we share. They do very similar things that we do. And our synergy can provoke and ensure higher levels of success. So I mentioned to the board that these people and all of that, right now, the partnership has been struck, the deal has been struck, and right now we're going to be so the organization is going to be co-organizing, all right, conferences, and the revenue is going to be shared 50-50. Are you following? Now, that international recognition came on account of excellent communication skills. Now, guess what? This is the icing on the cake. We never had a Zoom call. All the processes that translated into the consummation of the partnership, there was no call, there was no video interaction. Everything was document-based, email correspondence. So I was able to secure an international partnership on account of just email correspondence. I was able to make an impression on the mind of these people and let them see why they should partner with us. And that partnership was struck. What am I saying in essence? If you want to move from ground level and you want to ascend into top management, you want to ascend the ladder in your industry, in your profession, you cannot turn a blind eye to communication. So having said that, what is communication? Communication, the word communication stems from the Latin word communicare. Communicare. What is communicare? Communicare means to share, okay? And communicare is also the word that stands for exchange, sharing, exchanging. Okay, so communication, therefore, is the transmission of information from one point that is called the encoder to the other point that is called the decoder through one or more media. So the encoder is the party who is responsible for coding or generating information, right? And then the encoder who is doing the coding What it does is that the encoder transmits that information through one or more media to the decoder, who receives the information, understands the information, and then supplies comprehensive feedback. So we see that the communication process is incomplete without feedback. Feedback is highly important for you to gauge and measure the success of any communicative process. So let's begin with this. The encoder can either transmit information through the spoken medium or through the written medium. So the medium that the encoder chooses is a function of the type of information, the type of message that the encoder is putting across. For example, in this communicative process, I speaking am called the encoder because I am the one coding the information in an intelligible way that you can assimilate. And then you, on the other end, receiving this information are called the decoder. And that brings to mind the picture of your DSTV decoder. So your DSTV decoder receives electromagnetic signals and then transmits those signals to you in pictures for you to see. So it is called a DSTV decoder because it is actually decoding. It is demystifying. It is breaking down information that it is receiving, all right, from satellite to you. Are you following this? So the encoder must pay attention to how he or she is coding the message. How you code the message can impact on the receiver of the message, can impact on how the recipient or the decoder will decode or understand or receive or comprehend the message. So whatever the decoder is unable to understand could be due to the inadequate coding of the encoder. So when there is a communicative deficiency on the part of the encoder, it is going to directly affect the decoder. So for example, and I love the adverts. How many of you saw the video that was used to promote this webinar? So there was a lady who had been instructed by her boss or supervisor that she was going to be making a presentation to making a proposal to an investor. So the success or failure of that proposal or that presentation is largely going to be due to the inadequate coding, the insufficient coding of the encoder. So this places huge burden and responsibility on the encoder to ensure that the encoder meticulously codes, generates, transmits the information in a way that the decoder can receive it, in a way that the decoder can understand it, in a way that the decoder can comprehend it, and that which will inspire and motivate feedback. Now, the truth is, as far as Shola is concerned, her term of reference, her goal is to ensure that after making that proposal or that elevator pitch, the investor would drop their money and say, okay, I think that your idea is very valid and we're going to put in $1 million. I mean, that's the goal of that communicative process. If that feedback is not secured, then Shola could be queried or fired. She may lose her job, all right? Because the goal of making the presentation is for feedback. Feedback, results. So as a young professional, we have to come to a place where we are result-oriented, where we are not just talking and talking and talking, but our talk is translating to revenue. Our talk is translating to results. So 3 months after I resumed as general manager, we had to immediately create dollar accounts, euro accounts, pound sterling accounts. And then we moved from earning in Naira. All right. Before I came, it was all Naira. And I came and said, no, we can't continue. If this is an international organization, we can't be earning in Naira. We have to position ourselves for hard currency earning and revenue. And then so I gave an instruction. I said, okay, we're opening up accounts, pound sterling, euro, dollar accounts. And guess what happened? In less than 6 months after that time, we started earning in dollars. People started reaching out to us from different parts of the world and saying, oh, we want to pay for this training. Oh, you are doing this training. I want to pay for it. I want to do it. People were booking sessions. Communication that produces what? Results. Someone say results. But you see, for you to get to that place when your communication, your soft skills is translating to tangible results, then you have to hone your skills. You have to groom your skills. You have to build and acquire presentation skills. Now, this is a skill. This is not a talent. Neither is it a gift. A skill is an ability that is externally acquired. So before you became a medical doctor, you had to go to school. Okay, so there's nobody who is born a medical doctor. Okay, there's nobody who is born a lawyer. And then you go to court and say, I was born a lawyer. All right. There's nobody who is born an accountant and say, me, I'm a born accountant. I'm just a talented accountant. It's not possible. Accounting is a skill. Medicine is a skill. Law is a skill. Do you see? Engineering is a skill. So you have to go to school to acquire it. In the same vein, I submit to you humbly, sirs and ma'ams, that for you to become a great presenter, you must go to school. You must get trained. You must learn it. You must acquire it. There's no other way to it. Now, I understand some of us go online, we do a lot of YouTube videos and all of that, but you know, the limitation of pedestrian learning, so to speak, I like to call it pedestrian learning, is that people get confused. People suffer from what is called information overload. They listen to this person, listen to that person, listen to that person, listen to that person. You know, when you were in primary school, you had just one English tutor and maybe another private home lesson teacher. You know, you didn't jump from school to school, okay, learning from different English teachers. No, you had only one mathematics teacher. All right, you didn't go from school to school saying, okay, today I will go to Ansarudin, all right, and learn from this math teacher. Tomorrow I will enroll at Springfield International School. Next week I will go to Pampas College. The week after, I will go to King's College. And then you are prostituting with learning. No. You won't be able to learn or master or acquire those skills that way. So what happened? Your parents enrolled you in a school, one school, that had one curriculum, of course, based on the standards of the Universal Basic Education curriculum, right? And then you were subjected to learning under a teacher, learning under a coach, learning under an instructor who became a force of exemplary leadership that you took after. Your teacher will say A for apple, A for apple, B for ball. You were imitating your teacher. There's someone you were learning from. It sounds like a mentorship, like pupillage, right? And then you stayed under that person for 6 years. After which you then graduated. That's the same principle that applies to presentation skills and elocution. You need a coach. Somebody say, I need a coach. All right, say it again, say, I need a coach. You need somebody who can walk you through the process of transformation. Now, why do you need a coach? I'll tell you why. English is not your mother tongue. English is not your native language. All right? Some of us here are from the East. Some of us here are from the Southwest. Some of us here are from the North. And by reason of birth, the fact that you were born from African blood, that means that you automatically possess what is called African accent. So for those who came out of Yoruba parents, you automatically had what is called Yoruba accent. For those who came out of an Igbo family, you automatically had what is called Igbo accent. For those who came out of a Northern family, you automatically had what is called Northern accent. So the accent is the original flavor of your speaking, the original flavor of your speech. That's called African accent. That's called accent. So for example, when you began to learn English, what happened is that somehow you began to carry over some parts of your accent into English. Meanwhile, English is also a language that has its own accent. If you were not born from the UK or you did not grow up in the UK, then you probably would not have the UK accent or the British accent. What you will have is an African accent. Do you see? All right. So even when you are pronouncing words, and I listen to some people pronounce words, I know, oh, this person has a Yoruba accent. For example, there are a lot of Yoruba people who have, I'm sorry to say this, but it's actually the fact, it's the truth, who have what is called the H factor. So when a word begins with a vowel sound, rather than sounding that vowel sound, they add an H to it. So, and then when there's a word that begins with an H, instead of sounding the H as in, they omit the H and then sound that word from the succeeding vowel sound. Let me give you an example. Number one, if a typical Yoruba speaking person, this is not someone who has been refined or who has been groomed or trained, all right? A typical Yoruba person who wants to pronounce the word House is going to say house, come to my house. Omitting the H, it's called H factor. Meanwhile, it's meant to be house, not house. Again, if a typical Yoruba person is wants to pronounce a word like ask, you know, ask starts with a vowel sound A, right? Instead of saying ask, they will add an H to that A and say ask. I am asking you. I don't know if you have observed what I'm saying. All right. When you know a typical Yoruba person wants to say, I bought 2 eggs. You know, egg begins with a vowel sound E. Instead of saying E, it says eggs. Bring the eggs. Eggs. It's the accent. So in order to eliminate that accent, you need to be trained. There is a training curriculum. So there's someone I'm currently coaching. Okay, I started coaching her last month. And fundamentally, I observed that she had the H factor. All right. So anytime she was speaking, she was always, I'm like, okay, don't worry, we're going to work on this. So I put her through a regimen. All right. And then I taught her some practical steps. And right now, the H factor is not totally eliminated because it takes time to eliminate it and overcome it. But the truth is, there's a huge difference now. Huge difference. She has greatly improved. And that's what we do at Sami Tutors. If you are interested in overcoming that H factor, then you should see me, you should beep me, you should send a message, because that's part of the drills that we undertake at our public speaking and communication skills class. For Igbo people, for example, sorry to, I hope you know that I'm not being sarcastic here. I'm just reading out facts, okay? These are facts that have been observed and tested and found to be true. So I don't have any bias against any tribe or ethnic group. I believe that you understand what I'm saying, right? So for the Igbos, when they are pronouncing their L, okay, because of the Igbo accent, they turn L to R. So instead of saying love, they say rough. Do you love me? All right, I love you. But it's love, not rough. But because of their tongue, the native tongue is designed to automatically convert L to R. All right, and that can be corrected through training. Okay, coming down to our northern brothers, when the Northern brothers are trying to pronounce P. They pronounce P as B. Sorry, they pronounce P as F. Sorry, they pronounce P as F. So instead of saying no problem, all right? No problem. So instead of saying problem, they are saying problem because of their mother tongue. All right, same thing when they are pronouncing B, they pronounce their B as V and V as B. So instead of saying I am very well, all right, a typical Northern person will say I'm very well. I'm very well. You are very rich. That man is very rich. It's the native tongue. See that? Are you following me, please? I hope we're still together. And when they are pronouncing the B, they pronounce the B, sorry, when they are pronouncing F, they pronounce F as B. So instead of saying 50, they say 50, because they are trying to pronounce F, but F for them is P. So instead of F, they say P, P. Instead of F, they say P. So instead of saying I am 50 years old, they say I'm 50 years old. All right? All the importance of speaking, importance of, so it's there, it's hardwired into the native tongue. So all these inadequacies can actually be eradicated. They can actually be overcome if you are ready to take the journey. Remember where we started from, that if you would like to excel as a career professional, you cannot afford to joke with your presentation skills. You cannot. If you want to be localized, that's fine. You may speak local English and you'll be able to shine at a local level. But I know that everyone that is listening to me under the sound of my voice is a global champion, is a global product. We are going to travel the whole world, making impact, causing a stir. I know that people listening to me here are planet shakers, right? I know that the people listening to me here are earth movers, shakers and movers, captains of industry. So you have to prepare for that level of value, for that level of global relevance, global value. Are you following? So it's important. All right. Please let me know when my time is up so I can quickly round off. So in order for you to effectively code your message, there are things you need to learn. All right. Every message has a message content and then message form. In other words, the message content speaks to what you are saying. The form speaks to how you are saying it. Message content speaks to what you're saying. Message form speaks to how you're saying it. So when you are saddled with a task of preparing a presentation, the first question you want to ask yourself is, what do I want to say? And this is where preparedness comes in, preparation. All right, Stephen Key said, proper planning and preparation prevents poor performance. So in preparing, you have to ascertain what you want to speak on, the subject matter. All right, having ascertained the subject matter, then you come to understand the intention. Why are you speaking? Why do you want to speak? Are you speaking to inform? Are you speaking to inspire? Or you're speaking to persuade? All right. In the classes that I run, the communication skills classes that I run, I break down these into bits and pieces. There are vital ingredients that must be contained in your speech if you are speaking just to inform or educate. And there are vital ingredients that must be present in your speech when you are speaking to inspire. And there are vital ingredients that must be contained in your speech if you're speaking to persuade or convince. All right, but for time, I will not be able to go into all those details. But when you sign up for the paid classes, we're going to unbundle all of these things. And then after ascertaining intention, cogitation is another thing. You have to come to a place where you are ruminating and thinking and brooding on the message, And while you're brooding on the message, you are talking about collecting relevant resources that will help to push the message, that will help to convey the message successfully. And the advice I always give to people is that you should acquire more resources than you need. Because when you acquire more resources than you need, it is going to fuel your confidence. All right? A lot of people are nervous when it's time to speak because of ignorance. The cure to ignorance is knowledge. And the cure to nervousness is knowledge. Knowledge breeds confidence. When you are knowledgeable in an area, when you are knowledgeable in the subject matter that you want to speak about, it fuels confidence. It inspires boldness. It produces boldness. You are bold, you are confident, you are sharp, you are punchy about your presentation. Do you see? And then after collecting relevant resources, then cognition comes to play. You are then outlining, you are making an outline of your speech. And when you're making an outline, all right, the next thing is to practice with the outline. How do you want to deliver that message? Practice. So having outlined your speech, the next thing that you want to ascertain is memory. Memory. You want to remember what you are saying. You want to remember, because if you forget the relevant points of your speech, it can impact negatively on your speech. Professor Carl C. Shaw said that the average man does not use above 10% of his actually inherited capacity for memory. He wastes 90% by violating the natural laws of remembering. This shows that the average human being has incredible potential for remembering things. All right? And so the laws of memory are 3 basic laws. Number 1 is impression. And to make an impression, you have to, number 1, you have to concentrate, observe closely, engage multiple sense organs, and also engage your eyes, your sight. Research shows that the nerves leading from the eye to the brain are 25 times as large as those leading from the ear to the brain. As I'm making my presentation now, I'm engaging your eyes, I'm engaging your sight. You can see what I am saying, and as a result, you remember. And this is why we remember movies we saw more than books that we read. It's the power of audiovisual. What you hear and see at the same time casts a long impression on your mind. So you have to be able to visualize your presentation. Repetition is another thing that guarantees memory, and then association. All right. So having dealt with the message content, let's now get into the message form. How do you want to communicate or pass across the message? How do you want to put across the message? How do you want to code it? How do you want to transmit it? That talks about media, okay? How you say what you say is more important than what you say. Now, people actually do not just listen to what you're saying, but they also listen to your nonverbal cues. They are also listening to your gestures, your hand movement, your eyes, your facial expression, and every other thing that goes with that. So it's important to pay attention to how you're saying what you're saying in order to guarantee the successful, communication of your message. And when we talk about message form, how you say what you're saying, all right, you have to consider the elements of English pronunciation. What are the elements of English pronunciation? The first one is sound in English. Sound in English. How you sound determines how sound you will sound. How you sound determines how sound you will sound. So that means that the way you sound can either intrigue your audience or repel your audience. People can get attracted to your sound, to your auditory phonetics, or people can be repelled from that thing that they hear. So you have to ensure that you are sounding right, you are pronouncing your words correctly, and there are no errors in your pronunciation. And this is going to lead me to commonly mispronounced English words. Now, when you sign up for the paid class, what will happen is that I'm going to take you through all the 44 speech sounds in English. I'm going to break everything down into bits and pieces for you to understand. I'm going to teach you how to sound the sounds and how to sound the sounds in words, such that when we begin to sound those sounds, you will begin to see why some words are pronounced wrongly. So there's a science behind it. Now, if I take you through commonly mispronounced English words, yeah, you will learn some things, but that learning is not going to be permanent because it is likely you forget and you revert to the mistake. But when you learn the science of English pronunciation, what will happen is that it permanently empowers you to speak well and speak right. Thank you very much, moderator. So in 10 minutes, I'm going to quickly go through some of the commonly mispronounced English words. Now, this is not for the purpose of vilifying anyone or criticizing anyone or ridiculing anyone. This is just an objective consideration of English words. And of course, you've seen and noticed that every word is transcribed. There's phonetic interpretation of every word. So the pronunciation here is actually based on the phonetic interpretation or the phonetic transcription of the word. And when you get into the paid class, you're going to learn all these things: transcribing, transcription, and how to say and articulate the various sounds in English. All right. So this is the point where this class gets interactive. This is the point where the class gets interactive. So I'm going to call on people to pronounce the words, to say the words the way you know them, all right? And then I will correct if I need to, okay? So how many people do we have on this call? We have 39 persons, okay? So if we have enough time, we'll go through everyone. Would have everyone present or attempt. But if not, we'll just do the few persons that we can for the time that we have left, and then we'll make progress. So, moderator, is it fine? Can we do this? Is it fine?
Oh yes, sure, absolutely.
Okay, great. So can we have a volunteer to pronounce these words on this slide for us? Any volunteer? Any volunteer?
Okay, we have
Favor.
Paul's hand is raised.
Okay.
Paul, you
so
can
moderator,
go ahead.
I'll need your help here because I'm not sure I can see the reactions. So you kindly help me to.
Okay, can I go ahead?
Determine... Okay, yes, please go ahead. Please go ahead. Who is speaking, please?
My name is Ogechi Tubiele.
Say again, please.
Ogechi Tubiele.
Okay, Ogechi, thank you, Ogechi. Where are you joining from?
I'm joining from Lagos.
Lagos, fantastic. Thank you for joining in. So could you please attempt to pronounce these words?
Yes, I can. Okay, the first one goes warrant, like a warrant officer. The second one goes, could you please swap your phone with me? The third one goes warranty.
No, I want you to just pronounce the words. Don't say them in sentences. Just pronounce the words only.
All right. I'll take it again. Warrant, swap, warranty, wallow.
Okay, so let me pronounce what you pronounced, just to be sure that I got you right. You said the first one is warrant, the second one is swap, the
Yes.
third one is warranty, the
Yes.
fourth one is wallow.
Yes. Yes.
All right, good. Thank you very much for the attempt. You tried. Okay, so the first word is actually warrant. Not a, but o. So that sound that looks like, that symbol that looks like a capital letter D is actually pronounced o. I'm going to teach you that when you sign up for the paid class. I'm going to break all of this into bits and pieces. So it's actually o. So it is warrant, not warrant. See that? The second one is swap. So the same sound in swap is the same sound in warrant. So it's swap, warrant, you see? And then the same sound is in warranty. So it's not 12 years warranty or warranty. It is 12 years warranty, 1 year warranty. So it's warranty. And then wallow, not wallow, not wallowing in the prison. No, it is wallowing. The same thing goes for swallow. So I ate swallow tonight, not swallow. Do you see that? So, Ogechi, did you get it?
Yes, please.
All right. Thank you very much for volunteering. So Paul is next. So Paul, can you pronounce the word on the slide?
Just confirm you can hear me. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Paul, we can.
Yes, I can hear you, Paul. Where are you joining us from?
Okay, I'm joining from Ogun State.
From Ogun State, wow. Thank you so much for joining in. Could you make an attempt to pronounce this word?
Okay, matter.
Again?
Matter.
Matter.
Yeah.
Did you say matter?
Yeah, I said matter.
Matter.
Yes.
All right. That's very correct. Matter. That's the pronunciation, not Mattia. You know, so Stephen in the Bible is not a Mattia. Stephen is a matter. So you pronounce it the way you pronounce M-A-T-T-E-R. They are called homophones. Words that sound alike, but are spelled differently. Homophones. So this is matter, not Mattia. All right, who's next? Thank you very much, Paul. I appreciate you. And it's not Mate. Somebody said Mate. It's not Mateo. It's matter. So who's up next? Who wants to try? I think I saw Favor said she wanted to, or I don't know if it's a he or she, wanted to make it.
Okay. All right. Good evening. I've been smiling here, and in fact, it's been an awesome learning experience. So I'm going to give this a try. I know what I'm about to pronounce may not be awesome, but I'm still going to give it a try regardless. So this is NC.
Where are you joining us from?
I'm joining from Lagos, Nigeria.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you for joining in. So go, Favor, hit it, shoot.
All right. So this is, okay. So this is in seesaw. In seesaw.
Did you say in seesaw?
Yes, I did.
All right. Thank you so much for the trial. It was good, but the word is actually incisor. 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 So it's your incisor, not your incisor or incisor. It's incisor. So that I is actually the diphthong I. It's the diphthong I that's there. So it's not incisor or incisor, but incisor. So could you say it? Could you say it after me? Incisor.
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 Good. Incisor. So the incisor is a fundamental element of the human dentition. Incisor, not incisor. All right. Would you like to try this second slide, Favor? This next slide.
Okay. Wow. I'll pronounce it the way I can pronounce it. So this is sing, like sing. And we have singer, then singing. Thank you.
No, there's one more word.
Oh, this one. The way I know it, so the way I've been pronouncing it, like since I've always known it, is alto. Alto. I look forward to the correction.
Okay, so if I heard you right, you said sing, singer, singing, and alto. Did I get it right? Did I get your pronunciation right?
Yes, did.
Okay. All right. So very quickly, if you notice, you see that there's something that looks like a very long N up in the transcription. So that long N is a nasal consonant sound that is pronounced with your tongue shifting backwards to your palate, as in So that's it. So that is not sing, g, like the g is not pronounced. It's sing, singer, singing, alto. So she is a good singer, not she's a good singer. So it's not ga, it's not singing as in gin. It is singing, singer, sing. Because the sound there is a nasal consonant sound. So it's not sing, it's not singer, it's not singing, it is sing, singer, singing, alto. So can you make an attempt to try that now? Sing, singer, singing, alto.
Alto, sing, singer, singing.
So you are still pronouncing g, g. So there's no g there at all. It's just sing, singer, singer, singing, singing. Anyways, for time, we may not be able to go into all those details. I'm sure when you sign up for the paid class, we're going to take time to deal with all of that. And then there's alto. And of course, I know this is being recorded, so we can always revert to the recording for practice. And then I know that there is Adedayo on the queue. Adedayo, how are you? Good evening.
Hi, good evening, Mr. Samuel.
Thank you so much. Where are you joining from?
I'm joining from Abuja.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. So could you make an attempt to pronounce this word?
Actually, when I saw this word, I was about to lower my hand because what is this?
just make an attempt. Just try. There's no harm in trying.
Okay, so without the transcription, I would have said alge. That's it.
Alge. Okay. I know that's what our biology teacher most likely taught us. I mean, I was taught algae too. So, I mean, may God forgive our biology teachers in Jesus' name. So, but this word is actually algae. 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 See? Not algae. Algae. Someone says I need to write to my teacher. So it's algae, not algae. But that was good. But note it is algae. Same thing for this word, algebra. So it's not all, it is algebra. Algebra. You know, our mathematics teachers taught us algebra, but it's actually algebra. Algebra. Moderator, do we have more time? Because I think that my time should be up by now. I wouldn't want to go beyond the allocated time. All right, we're out of time, so we have to stop here. But if you want to see more videos, I've done a lot of videos on commonly mispronounced English language words. So you can visit my Instagram handle at Sammy Tutors. At Sammy Tutors. Okay, that's my Instagram handle. Please follow me on Instagram for more content and watch the videos. There are a lot of videos there that I've done for practically all these words on this slide. You'll find them there and you'll be able to learn more. All right. I want to thank you so much for listening, for staying with me for this long. I want to thank the organizers once again, as well as the host, Mrs. Christina Shuname, for the opportunity and privilege to bring up some value. And I believe that you derived a lot of value from this class. I look forward to seeing you in the paid classes, yes, so that you can get into details. This is just introductory. We didn't cover so much, all right, that we would have loved to cover. But I believe that when you take that bold step to get trained, okay, and properly schooled in English pronunciation, I am sure that your pronunciation is going to take giant strides and you will be able to ascend into the management level and the top rank of your profession. Thank you so much, sirs and ma'ams, for listening.
Wow. Thank you so much, Samuel. Thank you. I'm sure that from what I could see on the chat box, people have to drink water to these things tonight. Thank you so much. We are so grateful to have you. Yes. Let's give it up for him in the chat box. Thank you so much. At this rate, I need to check how to pronounce my name correctly. I just on a lighter note. Okay. What we're going to take some
Samuel
questions.
And not Samuel, like a lot of people say Samuel.
Yes.
Samuel. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll be taking a few questions. I think because of time, we'll be taking like maybe 3 or 4 questions. I have one with me at the moment, and I'll just read it out loud. Okay, so the question goes thus: when asked to give a presidential debate on a topic, what is expected of me? Did you get that?
A presidential debate, you said?
Yes. So the question says, when asked to give a presidential debate on a topic, what is expected of me? So I would like to think maybe the person is talking about how to carry his or herself. That was the question.
Well,
right?
I think it will be helpful to know the topic in question, because so that I can speak specifically. I don't just want to speak generally, because there are general principles for debate presentations. So I wouldn't know if the person just needs general principles or general knowledge, or you want me to speak specifically to the topic that you have been saddled with. But in any case, I will just speak to the general principles. When you're in a debate, there is a modus operandi for a debate. So you are speaking for a proposition, all right? And then you are also speaking against a proposition. So you are supporting a particular proposition, and then you advance or arguments that support that proposition. All right. So first of all, you establish protocol. I wouldn't know the protocol of the debate in terms of the chairman, the panel, the judges, the timekeeper, and all of that. You have to establish protocol first. Even when you are making a speech, apart from debates now, you should establish protocol, except where protocol has already been established, maybe by the moderator or by somebody else who had spoken before you. Then you can adopt the already established protocol by saying that I will stand on the existing protocol, or I will adopt the already established protocol. But if you're speaking for the first time and nobody has established protocol before you, you ought to establish protocol, because it's a sign of acknowledgement. It's a sign that you respect the eminent personalities present at that event. So having established the protocol, then you begin to advance arguments that support your proposition or your motion. In advancing arguments, there's a way to go about it. All right? You can advance arguments by telling a story that applies to the point that you want to advance, or that applies to the argument, that is relevant to the argument that you are advancing or canvassing. You could also start by way of reading out, reading out statistics, okay, that support the argument that you are making, okay? You could also give some evaluative evidence. Evaluative evidence include research, studies, reports, surveys, and so on and so forth, that speak to the points that you're trying to make, because those pieces of evaluative evidence lend credibility, authenticity, veracity, validity, and legitimacy to your points. They strengthen your arguments. They make your arguments stronger. So in order to lend credence to your arguments, then you ought to include evaluative evidence, including research, studies, reports, surveys, questionnaires, empirical data. See? So it's important that you note that. And then, of course, it is always helpful to what is called play the devil's advocate. What does that mean? It means that you should have advanced your argument and advance points that support your own proposition. Try to envisage or predict or preempt what your opponent may raise as a counter argument against your own argument and rebutting it. In other words, you are shooting the enemy before the enemy shoots at you, because you, based on your study and research, you think that the opponent may raise a particular counter argument. And we do that a lot as lawyers, okay? When we're in court and we examine a case, all right, we advance arguments and saying, assuming without conceding that, in other words, we are trying to raise a counter argument that the other party may raise in their own counter, okay? And then we raise that argument and rebut it. We raise it and rebut it, showing why that point is inferior to your point, thereby strengthening your own point. Are you following? So these are things that you can do when you are making arguments. And of course, when you are making your arguments, always use cohesive devices so that the listener understands the thought process and the sequence of your thinking, of your thought process. You can say something like, first and foremost, to start with, that's when you are making a new point, all right? And then when you want to say a point that is in addition to what you had said earlier, you use what's called additive markers by saying things like, furthermore, in addition, additionally, in the same vein. Okay, those are markers that show cohesion. They help you to establish a sequence in your thoughts and help to engender clarity of speech, all right, when your listeners are listening to you. Okay, when you want to raise a point that counters what you had said earlier, you can use what is called contrastive markers, like however, nevertheless, nonetheless, regardless, and so on and so forth. Okay, when you want to establish cause and effect, you can say therefore, consequently, as a result, in effect. See, these are cause-effect markers. And when you want to wrap up your entire discussion or argument, and you can say something like, finally, based on the foregoing arguments, I submit that, okay, you can say, on the whole, you can say to cap it all, please, it's not to cap it up, it's to cap it all, not cap it up, all right? And then you can say, I'll round off, not round up my discussion. Round up means to apprehend someone. That's what round up means. To gather means to round up, okay? But when you are trying to tie together your thought process, you say round off. When you're trying to close a meeting or a discussion or an argument, you say round off. Do you see? So these are things that I believe will help you in your debate. I hope that's helped you.
All right, thank you very much. I hope whoever asked the question, I want to believe that, he was able to go in depth. So I think that was, even I myself, I took some learnings from that. Thank you so much. So I'll just ask the next question now. How do we infuse the right pronunciation into our daily communication?
Well, it begins with knowledge, knowing the various speech sounds in English. That's where it begins. As I told you earlier, just speaking based on what you heard somebody say or what you heard on the TV or on the news is not sufficient to engender perpetual and permanent correct pronunciation. The only way you can have sustainable permanent transformation in your pronunciation is when you learn the science, the technology, the know-how, the principles of English pronunciation. And it's not far-fetched, all right? I have said it in this class before that if you are able to master the 44 speech sounds in English, you are able to master stress patterns, you are able to master intonation, which are topics that are covered in my paid classes. I get into details with each and every part of these elements of pronunciation, and I walk you through all the stages, showing you how to move from one point to another, how to articulate the sounds and all of that. Then you will be able to pronounce any word, all right? Mm-hmm. Once you are able to master the speech sounds. Now, the truth is, every word is made up of letters. True or false?
True.
Every word is made up of letters. Now, every letter is sounded based on phonetic sounds. Every letter is sounded based on phonetic sounds. For example, letter T actually sounds T. Letter T doesn't sound T, it sounds T. Letter A sounds A. So letter B sounds B. So the sounds of the letters is what guarantees how that letter is meant to be pronounced. So if you don't know the sound that is in the letter, you will not be able to pronounce the letter. And by extension, you will not be able to pronounce the word. So at the root of pronouncing words correctly is mastery of speech sounds. When you are able to master the various speech sound elements that make up the pronunciation of letters in English, you'll be able to pronounce any word correctly.
Okay, amazing. Thank you. One last question before I bring Christina up to wrap up. When people speak, they tend to use a lot of people, actually, I'm also guilty, sometimes tend to use fill-ups, like
yes.
Yes. So how can that be combated, to like reduced or totally eliminated? Does it come with I know you have to be conscious, but are there other things that can be done like daily?
Yeah, so Pause fillers, using pause fillers is controllable. It can be controlled. It can be managed. And most of the time, a lot of people use pause fillers when they are making an impromptu speech. So they didn't prepare for it. It wasn't premeditated. And so pause fillers could be used. But even at that, there should be a limit to which you use pause fillers. When pause fillers become too incessant, they can be distracting, they can be disturbing, and they can detract from the message. People can even get bored. I want to thank the host. I'm sure you're already disconnected. You're already feeling bored. That God, talk what you want to talk now. So that's the thing with pause fillers. So the way to combat pause fillers is through practice. Consciously practicing speaking in a way that you do not use pause fillers. Another thing is to make a habit of listening to yourself. So when I do lessons or sessions or trainings or webinars, I ensure I record it and I get the recording. Listen to myself. How often did I use pause fillers? And then I try to ensure that I work on it. I try to increase my vocabulary bank, because that's another thing. A lot of people use pause fillers because of paucity of words, scarcity of words. They don't have enough words. They don't have a rich vocabulary bank. So they are thinking hard to produce words. They are thinking and racking their brains. Oh, which one should I use now? Which word should I use now? But when you have a very large reservoir of vocabulary bank, it's easier. It's faster. You can be more fluent when you speak. So number one, I would say, control it, train yourself deliberately by recording yourself and listening to yourself time and again. Number two, improve your vocabulary bank.
Okay. Thank you so much, Samuel. Thank you for today. Christina, I would hand over to you right away. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, OPJ, our moderator. Just to wrap it up in a few moments with a few announcements. I mean, this is me now conscious of my speaking and wondering, hey, God. And Samuel is cringing, like Christina. But it has been really, really insightful. I mean, for those of us who joined our learning sessions monthly, this is like the first time this year that we've had reason to call for people to like join a paid class, because this subject is just completely inexhaustive in one learning session. And thankfully, working with our speaker was very helpful, because we can leave people with somewhere to go to, unlike just having someone who doesn't have anything more or already structured to offer. But with him, there is Sami Tutors. He does this on a normal day. He coaches professionals and all that. So this is a call to reach out at Sami Tutors. I put that on Instagram in the chat box earlier, and I'll still drop it. And if you need us to guide you there, you have our email. We can also guide you to his page so that you can sign up for a paid class. And even once the advert for the next paid class is up, we would also reach out and get that from him and also share within the community, so that those of us who need it can definitely jump on it. I am even looking forward to the next paid class, because I think I'm due for another upgrade, in readiness for my global activities going from here. So if you're like me, let's be on the lookout for that link. And of course, to get the replay of this, the replay is already available. I just dropped the link to the replay in the chat box, and then it'll also be sent out by email for us. I think OPJ already dropped please remember to follow at Sami Tutors on Instagram. There are a lot of free videos there that you can start with right away. Any special discounts for DYPers? Okay, we will talk to our speaker about that so that, you know, by the time the advert is up, perhaps we can have something special for you. Thank you for bringing that up, sir. Very, very valuable. So we'll work on that, you know, going from here. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Please follow us, Daring Professional, on Instagram as well. We have sessions like this monthly, and next month is actually our anniversary. So thank you, OPJ. That's the direct link to Instagram, to Sami Tutors page on Instagram. So you can just click that right now and follow right away on Instagram. All right. So we have sessions like this every month. Next month is going to be extra special. Please ensure you're following us so that you can see all the big things that are coming. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure from this side. I think that if OPJ has anything else to share, I will step back for her, but we highly advise that you catch the replay of this session. There are a lot of insights that were dropped here and there. It moved really fast, but a lot of insights are locked in this session. You should definitely go back to it. That's all from me. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. OPJ, back to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.